You're listening to an iHeart podcast.
And welcome everybody to the Do One Thing for 30 Minutes Everyday podcast. I'm Delvin, I'm your host, and I always say when special individuals come, the cameras come on. Of course, you know, this is an audio only podcast, but for special friends, I put this episode on YouTube. So thanks for joining in. You can subscribe to our channels on Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and Spotify so you can get notifications on when we go live with a new episode. Today is just that type of a day. I have a very, very special friend who is here. And listen, I don't have a bio on him. I don't have anything to read on him, but I can tell you everything about this man. This man right here, his name is Art Sims. Art Sims is an amazing friend of mine. And when I say amazing friend of mine, I mean that we have known each other since we were 18 years old. And we're not going to say how old we are now. It has been that long that we have known each other. However, in these years that we have known each other, he has been a friend. He's been a confidant. He's been a brother, and he's been a coworker. All of these things wrap up into knowing who Art is. Art Sims knows everybody. And when I say he knows everybody, there is not one person that he does not know. He can travel the ends of the earth, go to Botswana, and he will meet the King of Prussia. He can go to some little known country in the rainforest somewhere, and he will come out with being friends with the British Prime Minister. If you give him a chance, he is that type of friend. He is that type of person. Art Sims, you know him as Chat Daddy. He is my friend, Art Chat Daddy Simpson. He is here with me today. Art, how are you, man?
I'm good, my friend. Thank you so much for this invite, and thank you so much for the amazing introduction. I was like, who is he talking about?
I'm talking about you, Art. I'm talking about you.
Wow, like who is this person?
Art,
are you kidding me?
You.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
And with Art being here, it only means one thing. We get to dish about a lot of stuff. We know where all the bodies are buried. We know where there's certain individuals in our life that we may have crossed off. We know where the bodies are. We were doxing before doxing was doxing.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. That's true.
If there's anything you wanted to know about an individual, first off, I met Art, I was 18 years old at Illinois State University, where we went to college. And at the time, we were roommates in Wright. I want to say, was it the dorm?
Yes.
Wright Hall, right. So it was
Correct.
Wright Hall at the Tri-Towers.
Right.
And then we moved into an apartment.
Correct.
And in those times that I knew Art being all of 18 years old, coming from Luther South High
Correct.
School, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Went to Luther South, and when he came into my life, I didn't know anything about Gucci sandals. I didn't know nothing about Gucci loafers. I didn't know none of this stuff. Art Sims taught me everything when it comes to fashion, when it comes to what to wear. Benetton sweaters, I learned that from Art Sims. I learned a lot of things on how to fold sweaters, Benetton. You worked at
United Colors of Benetton.
Yes, the United Colors of Benetton. And
yes.
When I was there for all of one day, I couldn't take it. But Art was there. He showed me everything. How to fold a sweater, how to fold a polo shirt. All of these things I learned. And it bode me well down the line. Now here it is now, some 40 years later, that I now use all of these methods that I learned from my time at the United Colors of Benetton.
Yes.
So Art was that type of a person. He was so fashion savvy at 18 years old. he was fashion savvy. I only knew one thing, and that was if my Levi's fit, that's all I went with. But at the time,
That's interesting.
At the time, that's who I was. At the time, that's who I was. But Art, everything was Gucci slippers, Gucci not slippers, but Gucci loafers at the time. It was that type of lifestyle, that type of mentality, and he carried it well and taught me a few things. My homemaking skills, I got that from Art Sims. What I didn't learn from my mama in cooking, I learned from Art Sims.
Interesting. Interesting.
So knowing all of these things at 17, 18 years old, and now we're well into our lives now. Art was the evening show host at a radio station called WVON AM in Chicago. And Art was there, and eventually when I got my life together and started to go into radio, I became a guest on Art's show. And when I became a guest on Art's show, Art showed me the speed of radio. I learned radio from so many different places where I was going to school at, but Art showed me the speed of radio, how fast it is. You talking for all of 5-10 minutes, and you got to go to a break. And I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know what breaks were until I got to the Art show. I just thought that we talked for 30 straight minutes. No, you're going to talk for maybe 7 minutes on this side. Then you're going to talk for another 12 minutes on the other side.
Correct.
All of these things I learned from Art. So the speed of radio, how fast it went, how you had to have your stuff together. You just didn't talk on the fly. You had to know what you were talking about. It all had to be planned. So Art showed me all of that. And I just figured when Art's show came on, it was time to relax. Because you got all of this news, politics all day long, that when Art's show came on, it was completely not news. It was completely not politics. And so he had a chance to do this show and just be himself. And I just watched Art become this monster. And I started to call Art the king of all chat media. Because he is the king of all chat media. Art will, if he's on a news show, or if he's on a daytime talk show, or if he's doing something, you will see Art's face on some channel, somebody's channel, 2579 if you're local, if you're CNN, ABC, he's Fox. He has been everywhere and doing everything. And when there was a time when he did Windy City Live, and I don't know if you remember. Well, I know you remember this. Windy City Live had a show on, and he was doing a segment about his world famous, infamous shrimp and grits. And he did this show. Ro Khan was on that show with Valerie Warner. And I don't think Ro Khan has recovered from having your shrimp and grits yet to this day, because his face was so in that bowl of grits. I've never seen a man's face be in a bowl of grits like his was.
Oh, I've seen several, but that's neither here nor there. But I've seen several. But yes, Ro Khan really did enjoy those grits.
Did you get a chance to use all of the products that they gave you back then?
I did. Yep. Thank you to Alessi. I ended up doing several segments through Alessi Great Italian Products, and did even a couple of grocery store segments during the pandemic. So yeah, I did, and it was good. But yes, thank you for everybody. And Mary Wilson of the Supremes, the late Mary Wilson, she enjoyed my shrimp and grits, but men not lifting their heads out of bowls of my grits have, just always been a thing, I think,
I think that there was a time where Art invited me to something that he was having at his house. It was called When 12 Strangers Meet. And it was a gathering of people that did not know. No one knew each other.
Nope.
The whole goal was to have them to know each other by the end of the night. And you walked in as strangers, but you walked out as friends. And that's what art can network or bring people together to kind of, and it was an annual thing, right? You did this like every year or every,
No, it happened quite frequently. Sometimes it was monthly, sometimes it was bi-monthly. Somebody just called me today and asked me would I consider doing one at their home now that we're out of summer season, and I told them yes. So it just depends on when people want to do them. A lot of people are duplicating them or trying to do them now, but I was the original in bringing people in for a meal and just networking and meeting each other. And I've had a lot of successful stories come out of those meetings.
I think that when I came, it was such a phenomenon. I never thought that this was possible. I never heard of anything like that. But because you did it so regularly, it was nothing to you, but it was a lot to me. I just said, well, wait, I don't know. Normally, if I don't know anybody in the room, then I'm not going to be in the room.
Right.
You know, but
your introvert would be there versus your extrovert.
And people find it hard to believe how much of an introvert I really am.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not.
See, you not.
Yeah, I'm not. No, yeah, a lot of times people be very surprised, but people do have their ways of how they do things. So,
So with all of that being said, I think that I had a tremendous time when I was there.
Good.
Okay. I think that kind of set things in motion for me.
Good.
And I'll tell you why. Me being an introvert again, I'm not used to not being in control of a situation. When to know what wall to lean on so I know when to exit. I don't, how can all of these things were I had to be in control of. What to say, how to say, and then what not to say. I analyze everything, so I don't say much.
Right.
But the conversations that we had to do with a whole lot of different things that you had to say something. And it just set me into a mindset where I could be social. And again, I wasn't that social in the beginning, but I became more social the longer that I stayed and that experience that I had with you.
Oh, wonderful. So I'm glad to hear that.
So that's one good thing that art has shown me through the years. Again, I can go on and on and on about what the other things are that art has shown me through life. But what I want to talk about more so than anything, because I'm on limited time and I understand this, because Art is a very, very, very busy person. And for Art to come here this means everything to me. So I'm going to make sure I get to the point.
Oh my, okay.
The point. After all of the things that went on at the radio station, I'm not going to bring none of this stuff up. It's the after for me that I'm interested in. You've had quite the bounce back from that.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate that.
I don't say, and this is kind of a thing for me, I don't say anything, but I see everything.
Oh, okay.
And from what I've seen, Art, you have had quite the bounce back. I see you being the face and ambassador for so many things now that it has gone well beyond what you have done as a talk show host, as a person who knows everybody. And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. And so not a lot of people can call Oprah Mama O.
True.
Right?
Very true.
So not a lot of people can do that. So Art is one of those people. But for you to know as many people as you know, it could have been easily for you to stay in that realm. But you decided to shift.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk about the shift.
The great American pivot.
Yes.
Yeah, there are things that happen in life that you just have got to learn to move on from whatever it is and what it was. Prior to my media career, I've always had what I consider really great careers. I left school to become a flight attendant. Not only have I been a flight attendant once, I've been a flight attendant twice. I've traveled pretty much all over the world. Any other careers that I've had, whether it was working in advertisement at Hal Riney and Partners here in Chicago, which Hal Riney was a national advertising firm, to me even just writing for undercover, or as I shouldn't say undercover, but not mainstream media to begin my media career. It was only until I got into mainstream media that things just were not what I thought they would be or should have been. And after all of that came to an end, I decided to do a pivot to do things that I feel are of servitude to other people.
Yes.
And it does not cost me one dime. It does not cost me any headache, grief, strife, any of that.
Right.
And it just turned out to be, just great. And, from what I do part-time in the funeral business to the amazing organization that I work for that's considered like my 9 to 5. That's not even really to me a 9 to 5, because what I do is bring awareness to the Guest House Foundation. To me, that's helping complete strangers that I do not know that are in a very critical point in their life. And I'm there to help them, navigate their way. A lot of these people have never been to Chicago, or they have such negative thoughts about Chicago. And I'm the person that says, nope. You ever heard of that famous barbecue place that's a James Beard award-winning place? Mm-hmm. Well, you would love to go out there, but I need you to go during the daytime. I need you to go as a group activity.
Right.
But while you're out there, I also need you to go across the street and try Brown Sugar Bakery. If you do not eat meat, I need you to go to Soul Vegetarian. So really, I am an ambassador for the city of Chicago.
That's true.
Through my 9 to 5. And I couldn't have not asked for a better situation for for who I am and where I am in life. Let me use my gifts and my talent and my resources to help complete strangers. I've done enough for those that are famous, popular, the shits, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
I've done enough for those type of people. I now want to just do for complete strangers.
And this is where I am so proud of you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Again, you said you are literally the ambassador for the city of Chicago. No one has come to you and asked you to do any of the things that you are doing. Nobody has given you any type of financial incentive to float people their way or for whatever. But because you know the city, and you want to be that guide for people who don't know the city. And that's what's important for me. That's my takeaway here. You have never changed when it comes to this. This is who you are. Everything you've done on radio has prepared you for this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Everything that you have done in life has prepared you for this. Being the flight attendant, being the host, the talk host, all of these things that you have done, you've seen with other people. You were the person you are now is the person you were when I met you at 17, 18.
Well, that's what a lot of people say who've been knowing me forever says, that I've never changed. I've been the same person. I currently have a travel buddy that we've been knowing each other for over 30 years. And whenever we go places, he always says that people know this man has been the same person since I met him 30 years ago.
Right.
And I go, oh, wow. I tell people, when God blesses you with a spirit of discernment, a spirit of giving, and a spirit of reciprocity.
Yes.
And when you have to realize that any and everything you do is not about you, it's about circumstances and situations. And it's just been like that for a long time with me. It's just been circumstances and situations. Some things are meant to last forever, and some things just have a season. And so that's how I just look at it. And I've always looked at it like that. Whether it's a relationship, family, employment, whatever the case may be, everything has a circumstance and everything has a situation.
I know that coming from where we both have come from, there is a beginning and there is an end.
Absolutely.
It's how you live your life at that end point.
Right.
That will determine where you go next.
Correct.
And that's why privately we can say how much of a hot mess something is or somebody is or whatever it is.
Right.
But we know that down the line, it will work better for us to keep our mouths shut about certain situations.
Well, I'm at liberty not to discuss quite a few certain situations.
Right.
Legally,
Yes.
I am at liberty not to discuss certain situations.
Oh, that ain't gonna stop me though.
So, right. And I can shake my head, but I cannot answer any questions about any particular things that have gone on in the last couple of years.
Okay, so then let me just say these things here. Then you just nod your head, shake your head, whatever. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna,
right.
I'm not going to do that. However, Guest House. Mm-hmm. Talk about Guest House. When you landed at Guest House, did you think it was going to be what it wound up being for you?
So originally I started off after the pandemic was over and everybody had to go and look for employment and get back to normal and all those things. I originally started off working at a funeral home. Mm-hmm. I've always delved in working in the funeral business for a number of years. People just never knew that.
Wow.
I worked for a gentleman that owned a funeral home many years ago. When I was younger, my great-grandmother lived across the street from a funeral home, so I was always very comfortable in that particular environment. So after the pandemic was over, a good friend of mine, a childhood friend, had advertised on Facebook that a small business was looking for an administrative person. I hit her up. She really couldn't believe that it was me. And then I was like, nope, it's me. And then, we started talking about childhood names or whatever.
Right.
And she was like, oh, wow. And she was like, well, the only thing is that it's at a funeral home. And I was like, oh, even better. I was like, I have background in working at a funeral home.
Wow.
And I guess she thought I was joking or whatever. She brought me in and I, fell right into place. And so for 2 years, I worked at the funeral home on a daily basis. Everything from taking death calls to conducting services to assisting the funeral directors to driving the cars to, there were days when there was nobody in there but me and the deceased,
Wow.
But it is what it is. As long as I know you dead, I ain't got nothing to worry about.
If you not moving,
right,
I'm not moving.
Right. I always used to say, please let me know if somebody else is breathing in here besides me. But other than that, no, it was great. And then one day I received a phone call from my good friend, Dion Nicole Smith, who is the director of development at Guest House. And she said, you know what? How's everything at the funeral home? And I, made an offhanded joke like, oh, it's a little dead, But she was like, well, good. She was like, I think I have a perfect opportunity for you. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I've not done a resume in a long time. And, I had a hard time seeking employment during my media career days because most of the time I'd go and apply places and people just would not believe that I needed a job or, would want a job.
Right.
And people just, it was hilarious to me, but it was serious. And so I met with the team at Guest House. I started off as a guest service representative, was, made the assistant house manager. And now I am the community outreach manager and I report directly to the CEO of the organization.
Art, my God, Art, I can't believe how, I'm swelling up with pride because first, I'm one of a few people who can say, that's my guy.
I appreciate that.
That's my guy. I know Art. You think you know Art. We just had a conversation with somebody who was saying, well, I've known Art. So no.
Right, you did. You shut him down.
I've known Art for a little bit longer.
Right.
However, to see how you've transitioned and you have, of course, there's been valleys and you've gone through your valley experience and you've done all of this here to get to where you are now. Was it worth it for you? Do you think it was worth it?
Yes and no. What's so interesting is it's the number of people who I've run into now publicly that is so interesting. What people may not know what I look like, but people know my voice.
Exactly.
And I have been at the grocery store, at the deli,
Right.
and have ordered something, and 10 people have turned and looked and said, wait a minute.
I know that voice.
Right. I have been a lot of places and have opened and just opened my mouth, and people have been like, whoa. Even in the funeral business, now the funniest thing is people, they recognize me.
Yeah.
And they think it's, like a joke, or they're being punked or whatever.
Are
because
they?
I'm standing up here at their grandmother's casket.
Right.
And I'm helping to tuck the grandmother in. I'm helping to, assist the funeral director in closing the lid.
Right.
And I even had to tell, one of my funeral directors, I said, I don't know if you want me at the foot of the casket, because as people are coming up, they're stopping to hug me.
Right.
They're stopping to, so I was like,
You're taking the shine
I'm like,
off of the
dude,
person.
I'm like, dude, the transition from being someone that everybody knows to just being everyday person is interesting, and it has been very interesting. And I never, in a million years, full disclosure, thought of myself as that big of a figure. But I even have people that want to date me now because of my media career. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, because Chat Daddy is one person and Art Sims is another.
And let's fit in there.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that part up.
Yeah, right.
There is Chat.
Correct.
And then there is Art. Can you tell people let me do it this way. The Art that I know is the introvert.
Right.
The Art that I know is the person who is he's kind of within himself. He doesn't want all of the notoriety or the drama or the attention, all that stuff. The Chat that I know wants all of that and will serve it when it's necessary.
Correct.
However, I think that you are more so Art now than Chat. When I met you, you were Art.
Correct.
When I worked with you, you was Chat.
Absolutely.
But now now after all of that,
Right.
to me, you're Art.
Correct.
And so, is that pretty much a true description as to
It
who
is.
you are?
It really is. It's so, just so people are clear, I've gone to doctors. I've asked them, is something wrong? I asked them, at what level is the bipolarism, if that is such a word. I've asked all of these things, and the doctors have said nothing. They've said no. You are. So Art Sims is a very I really don't like people like that. I really could spend a lot of time by myself. If I had my druthers, I'd be married to one particular person, and we probably would never, ever be out that much like that. If we would, we'd go eat, do some things, travel, be done with it. I actually could, live by myself. They live with themselves. We schedule time, all of that. Where Chat Daddy shows up to something and people make a big deal out of me showing up to things. I just went to see Shaka Khan at the 79th Street Renaissance Festival. And it was 1 billion people out there. So I decided not to go through the crowd, not try to get to VIP, none of that. I sat out way back with the people. And there were ladies and people that was like, oh, Lord, oh, my God. And I was like, huh? And thank God I had some rum punch with me.
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up becoming friends. So I got a whole bunch of 79th Street cousins now.
You are so mean.
Because they, but they was like, oh, my God. And then they've all become my Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And they like, oh, my God, like, you got to be kidding me. Like, a lot of people don't realize that I know the current president of the United States. I mean, I'm not a supporter of his.
Right.
I have nothing negative to say about him.
Right.
But when they opened Trump Towers in Chicago, that man gave me a personal tour of Trump Towers. I do know him. Somebody recently got smart with me and said, I really don't care if you were the president of the United States. And when I got through reading her ass, I said, and by the way, I do know him.
Oh, by the way.
And you better believe everybody was on their P's and Q's after I said what I said.
But again, that comes from somebody not knowing who you are.
Correct.
That's somebody.
That's fine.
somebody who just figure they can just go ahead and just pop one comment off and
Right.
it don't hurt nobody. But no, the chat that I know will hurt somebody. I'm not saying it in a bad way.
Right.
I'm just saying that the chat that I know will read you pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
And you can cut to the quick, and it's okay because I do
Right.
that too.
Right.
But don't take Art's kindness for weakness.
Correct.
Don't take that as somebody that, well, this is just who he is. No, there's a side of all of us
Correct.
that you just don't want to meet. Because promise me, you don't want to meet Calvin.
Right.
When Calvin comes out, Calvin is like, no. And yeah, my wife doesn't know Calvin that well. But
Really?
Calvin will make an appearance.
How are you married to somebody they not know all you? But I guess that happens.
I would say Calvin makes an appearance.
Right.
It's not that he doesn't come to stay, but he
Right.
makes an appearance. So she knows he exists.
Okay.
But Calvin does come out every once in a while. And so I understand that. Chat comes out every once in a while. Don't in mid art, chat will come out. In mid Delvin, Calvin will come out. That's just the way it is for us. Us being who we are, it's just we rather live in anonymity than having the spotlight.
And then what's so funny, in my relationships, I'm known as Marco.
How is that possible? Is that
Because
somebody else?
I'm known as Marco. Right. I've dated several people that have said to me, like, oh my God, I am dating. And I was like, no, you're not. You're really not. You're not. And I even had somebody, I got into it with somebody one time, and it turned into a little altercation. And when the police came, the person said, Chat Daddy done whooped my ass. I said, no, Chat Daddy ain't whooped your ass. No, he did not.
It was Marco the whole
He did
time.
not. Chat Daddy's a good white woman. I did not whoop your ass.
It was Marco the
It
whole
was
time.
Marco that whooped your ass. Marco tore your ass up. And that's why the popo came out. Right. Marco tore your ass up.
Well, now listen here. Now I don't want to add Marco to the list of people that I know. Maybe
Right.
I don't want to know who Marco is in that last
get it right. Just leave Marco where he belongs.
I'm gonna leave Marco in the jar.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna
Sure.
let him stay there. The
Sure.
lid is tightly sealed.
Right.
So that Marco can't make an appearance.
And then we ain't even gonna talk about May. May is a whole nother person.
Is this
But-
how
but-
many persons do we are talking about?
So there's Chat, there's Art, there's Marco, and there's May. And no, May is a whole nother person that people laugh and talk about May as well too. But but other than that, that's it. That's
Okay.
all.
So May and Marco, Chat and Art.
Yes, so there's Art, there's Chat, there's Marco, and there's
There's
May.
May.
Right.
Marco and May can stay where they are.
Okay, right.
I'm glad you told me
Right.
who Marco and May are.
Right.
And the characteristics of
And again, no doctor has ever diagnosed me with
How is this
severe-
possible?
They've not. They cannot. Because each person does what they do. They're clear about what they do, and they all report back to Art. So
Wow.
it all works well. There's nothing that like that ought to be treated or that ought to be. No, it should not be. It should not be.
Have you heard of Lipitor?
Yeah, all of that.
None of that.
All of that.
None of that. None of that.
None of that. Because right.
So you're doing good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I'm a mess. I'm a
Well,
mess.
that's all right, but I think I'm doing okay. I do. I just know, I have to look at every situation, assess the situation, and then I have to say, is this an adult podcast we're on?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I have to just say, which bitch need to show up today?
Yes, exactly.
Like, which bitch need to show up?
I'm not mad at you.
Right. So, but yeah.
Because this bitch right here,
Right, right. So-
it's something completely different.
Right, like Art Sims mixed with Chat Daddy helps the guest house, helps grieving families, helps that type of thing. When it comes time for me to be on television, radio, newspaper, that's Chat Daddy doing the brand that he does that people love.
All day.
Right. When I have to, put my foot in somebody's ass because you thought you was going to try to get over on me, Marco from 79th Street come out and he had to do what he need to do.
And I'm not mad at
And
Marco.
then May is just, we ain't even going to discuss May.
May is a grand
we
mess.
ain't going to even discuss May.
Capital
No.
MESS.
No.
Okay. Now, with all of this being said, Art, If you had to do it all over, where would you start? Would you do it all over?
If I had to do it all over, I would have left Chicago 100 years ago.
And gone where?
I probably would have New York, LA, somewhere more like that. I would have definitely done that a long time ago.
I thought you were going to say somewhere like the UK. Honestly, I thought that you were going to say.
In my younger years as an international flight attendant, I went to the UK a lot, and I do think the UK is wonderful. Any foreign place I think is great. I like the United States for what it is and our freedom and who we are. But no, I've never really thought about living, in other countries or, like that. No.
Wow.
New York or LA.
New York or LA, that would be the place where you would be.
Correct.
So doing it all over, you would do it there.
Correct.
Would Marco and May be with you as well as Chat?
Oh, Marco and May go everywhere. Yeah, Marco and May go everywhere. So Marco and May go everywhere before anybody else, right?
So do people get to know the package deal, or are you just giving it to them when they need to get it?
No, it depends on who it is and what the circumstance is that they get to know who it is that they get to know. But there are certain people that I have relationships with that they only know Marco or they only know May. The world knows Chat Daddy, and regular people, and I don't mean regular, but everyday world knows Art Sims.
Yes.
Bill collectors, the people like that, the rent, the mortgage, the car notes, that but that's pretty much it.
I know it's getting good, but I need you to take a minute to listen to these important announcements that I have for you right now. Hey, you guys, I'm Delvin, and if you believe in me and you believe in my content, just know that your help is definitely needed. BuyMeACoffee.com is the best way to support my content. At BuyMeACoffee.com/1for30, you are able to support me any financial way you'd like, and that support will help me with the production costs that it takes to run this podcast and other podcasts, and to give you the content that you want, and just helps me also buy that cup of caramel macchiato coffee that I need in my life every single day. Go to buymeacoffee.com/1for30. Do it now. And thank you so much for your support. Listen, first off, you're listening to and watching the Do One Thing for 30 Minutes Everyday podcast. I'm Delvin. I'm your host, my friend. For a long time, 40 years. I said it. That's right. I said it. And we look good for 40 years in a relationship.
Correct.
For the last 40 years, he's been my friend, and we've been on again, off again, but we've never stopped being friends. And when you are like that, it picks right back up again just as soon as you see them and as soon as you spend time with them. Art, you were a couple of weeks ago. You were had a front row seat to an accident that
I did.
That went on, and that made me reach out to you.
Oh, wow.
Because, as much as I say and as much as I plan, sometimes planning falls off. But when you had a front row seat to an accident, to a car accident, and you experienced that, I thought to myself, what if he was involved in it, and I never got the chance to see or talk to him again?
Oh, wow.
So I went there.
Oh,
I went there. It was not the best of feeling, or I hate to bring it down or what the case may be, but that's exactly where I was. I needed to see you, and I needed to make sure that you was good. You told me the story, but I just needed to make sure. I had to, like I tell my parents, I had to put eyes on you every once in a while.
Well, I appreciate that. As you know, a friend of mine yesterday was on social media. He had an accident happen right in front of his face. We're living in some chaotic and wild times, and it's just, you got to stay covered, when you're in the streets, and just hope nothing happens. But no, I was 2 cars behind the accident, but literally, it was right there, and it just happened. But no, everybody survived it, got out, that type of thing. But, again, like I say, I work in the funeral business. So if I die today or tomorrow, I've lived a great life. It's been amazing. I know a lot of people that have gone on to the great beyond or wherever they go. And, if I had to look back over my life, it's been amazing. It just,
I love the fact that you have this approach, but, that wasn't my approach when I heard about this accident.
Oh, well,
I'm like, damn it, I need to make sure that you are good.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, but I'm fine.
See, so if nothing else, it taught me something. Never take your friendships for granted to the point at which you just don't talk to them when you really want to talk to them.
Correct.
So, my family as well in the funeral business, and I know how death works. It's never what you think it is going to be. It never happens when you think it's going to happen. But it does always seem to catch everyone by surprise.
Correct.
So I just didn't want to be caught off guard with something like this. You mean that much to me, and
I
for
appreciate that.
for people who don't really, I want you really to understand something. When I was in college, and I was Joe Soto was my instructor, and he wanted everyone to talk about at that point, who is somebody in the media industry that you look up to or kind of listen to or whatever. And everyone had their share of personalities. I love Steve Harvey. I listen to Ricky Smiley. I do all this stuff. Mine was, I listened to Art Chat Daddy Sims. And Joe looked up, because at that point, everybody, okay, I listen to Joe Soto, I listen to the music, I listen to whoever, whatever, Art Chat Daddy Sims, he kind of perked. Joe kind of shocked me a little bit when he looked up, because he was like, I know Chat.
He does.
And it's amazing that you say all the things, because all of it is true. And he knows that everybody was going off of what they heard on the radio, not necessarily knowing the person. But when I gave them the story of you, he looked up and he said, everything he said, you may not know who Art Chat Daddy Sims is, but everything that he said about him is true.
Well, I appreciate that. Joe Soto's a great man. You're a great man. Anytime people can speak life into who I am and what I've done, I'm humbled in many, many ways. No, I did not go to school for any of this. No, I do not have a degree in any of this. As a little black kid from south side of Chicago, I told my grandmother when I was very, very young that I wanted to be in the TV. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be in the TV. And in the TV. And sure enough, I ended up being in the TV.
Wow.
And being in the TV every morning.
Yeah.
In the third largest market in the country.
Yes.
I've always said that I wanted my name in print. Publications, the oldest black newspaper in the country, was able to travel all over the world just on a business card. Then I've always, I had asked to be in radio 15 years ago, and it fell on deaf ears. The major stations, everybody wanted to give me a chance, but never gave me a chance. Somebody who's very popular on the radio right now was so disrespectful to me that said I wanted to give you a chance a long time ago, but I decided not to give you that chance. And, and so once I did get the chance, and then to do it every night for years, it just was something that I knew that fit. No, I don't know. I know this is a microphone. I know that that's a control board.
Yeah.
And I know that I know people. I know how to talk to people, and I know how to make magic. And crazy piece is that, it just never matriculated into what it should have been. And now I give it all the middle finger.
I love the fact that
I give it all the middle finger.
I'm like, hey, hi. Well, Art will never, or Chat will never do this. So as the spokesperson for Chat today, I'm going to do it for him, because I know that he would never do it for himself. Okay. hey, radio industry, this finger right here, this is for you. Yeah, matter of fact, let me peel it open a little bit just in case you didn't. Take that one down. This is for you, radio industry. This is who.
Well, no, it's for all of it. It's for radio, television, and newspaper. It's for all of it. It's no. I'm headed to an event tonight, and the young lady has a degree in journalism, and she just got hired to be a flight attendant. I'm getting ready to go tonight to her going away party and encourage her to fly, see the world, network, mingle. I've met so many people who have graduated with degrees in journalism, broadcast media, all of that. And they was like, nope, nobody ever returned a call, nobody ever whatever. And they all now have great jobs doing other things.
Right.
And I'm like, child, go with that. Go with God.
Get off the
do
plantation.
Something different. Right.
Get off the plantation.
Right.
I love it.
I just know I said I wanted to do something. I did it, and bada boom, bada bing.
And this is exactly what happens when you cut the cord. You realize just how free you actually are, and that's knowing who you are. And we're done. Knowing who you are and where you've been. I can tell you, Art, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. The highs, the lows. I've seen it all. And I see where you are now. I have never been prouder of you than I am right now.
Well, I appreciate
never
that.
been
I
happier
really
for
do.
you. Never been happier
Thank
for
you.
you than I am right now. Because there have been nights in the parking lot over there at 800 South Wells that we have had these conversations before. And Art, again, I don't have the camera on him. He can neither say yes or no. You will not see him shake his head or nod his head in this, but I know exactly the conversations we had in that parking lot when the rats were aplenty. And just, just chasing us down and the conversations that we've had and where we have both been. I am so glad. If anything, I know that if this happens for you, it can happen for anybody. And that you are a living example of that. That's why I needed you here. Okay. That's why I needed you to come in here, sit down, let me look at you face to face while I tell you all of these things. You may not ever hear from me again. You may not.
Well, I appreciate all of this.
But this is exactly who we are as friends. And as friends go, you have these moments. And so now, our last question, this being, and this is a stretch now, but this being the Do One Thing for 30 Minutes Everyday podcast, Art Sims, what is one thing that you do for 30 minutes every day or that you can recommend to people to do for 30 minutes every day?
Wow, that's interesting. I don't know. Take 30 minutes to yourself every day.
Right.
And that 30 minutes is whatever that brings you the most amount of joy. Whether it's reading, praying, meditating, masturbating, whatever it is that brings you that amount of joy is what you have to do. And that's what I tell people. You just have to find your joy.
I love the fact that, although masturbating 30 minutes every day, that would be kind of, that's a little hard for us, pardon the pun. But
that's hard for you then, but not hard for everybody. I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of myself, but I'm not putting myself in this. But for some people, they can do it every day. They can,
I give them all. I applaud anybody. I applaud everybody.
The average person that knows Marco and May, they do it every day. They do it every day.
Now, we're leaving Marco and May in the jar.
Oh,
Remember
I'm sorry.
that.
I forgot.
We're keeping that tightly sealed
right,
now.
I forgot.
Okay, because, we don't want them to make an appearance because they will slip in and cause catastrophes to happen.
They're actually very charming.
I'm not bringing them up.
Right.
The more we talk, the more Marco just wants to bust out and just come.
No, not really. Nope.
Not today. No,
not today. It's not that circumstance or that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about May?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Just making sure. Just making sure. Okay. One last question. Will I ever get the chance to see or see Marco or May?
Oh, I don't know. That depends. That depends on the person, the circumstance, the situation.
Have you been that. Have you ever been that angry that Marco just pops up and just?
Oh, Marco is not an angry person.
But
Marco,
when you have to settle the score.
Yeah. Oh, no. Marco is not that person like that. May is not that person like that either. When I have to settle the score, Art Sims settles the score. Mm-hmm. Art Sims handles the business. He handles the business.
I just want to make sure that we keep the seal tight.
Yeah, he handles the business.
Okay.
Right.
Well, Art, I know. Chad, I know. I love Art.
Right.
I've loved Chad, but I really, really am a big fan. I was a fan of Art. I was a fan of Chad when I experienced Chad.
Thank you.
I've been a fan of Art longer than I've been a fan of Chad Daddy. Mm-hmm. So the Art that I know trumps the Chad that I know.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
right.
So, but I've experienced both of them. I love Art more.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Now,
but yeah, when business needs to be handled, Art Sims handles business.
And that much is true.
Right. Yeah. The other personalities, no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, the Chat Daddy is only when I have to be like, ma'am, do you realize who you really talking to?
If I was in San Tropez, would I ever meet?
That depends. It really depends. Yeah. Marco and May done met people at the lounge, at the grocery store, at the gas station. Marco and May have met people, in lots of places. Chat Daddy is only when people recognize me, and then Art Sims is, hi, I'm Art Sims. That type of situation.
Well,
Art Sims goes to work, he goes, and does things that he needs to do and that type of thing.
All right, listen, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, Art Sims is the man that be like, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing final review.
Right.
Please make sure you turn on your headlights. Make sure you put a sticker in the front and back window of your car. On behalf of this beautiful family, we'd like to thank you. That type of yes.
I love it. Listen, all right, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you more. So real quick, let me do a plug in.
Yes, everything you need to do.
So the Guest House Foundation is temporary medical lodging in the Chicagoland area. We have 54 fully furnished apartments on the campus of UIC. It's for medical recovery. Like if you're in the hospital and cannot go home because of steps, or you might have a lot of smokers in your house,
right.
We're a respite for people that need to be between the hospital and home. It could be you live 3 hours away from Chicago, you had a outpatient procedure and you cannot drive back to where you're from. You can stay with us. You can be a transplant patient, a cancer patient, and we have people that stay with us as little as 24 hours up to a year, depending on the medical condition, and all guests are referred to us by our partnering hospitals.
So website, give them a website.
It's guesthousechicago.org. That's guesthousechicago.org, and we're on all social media platforms as well.
All right, listen, of course, all of the, at the bottom of the screens, everything will show up there as far as how to, the website that you can go to, and the links will be on the YouTube, and will also be on every audio podcast page. So just in case you need that assistance, it is there for you. Do one thing for 30 minutes every day. If you do, you'll have no room for negative thinking, for doubt, or anything that will kind of keep you back from being all that you can possibly be.
All that you can be.
Listen here, Art, don't you start with me.
All that you can be.
This is Art Chat Daddy Sims. He's my friend. Of course, we can go on talking forever. We can go on talking forever about things that will go on, that have gone on, but we're not going to do that today. But Art can neither shake his head yes or nod his head no, or do none of those things. He can neither do that.
Nope.
And I'm not going to get him in trouble. However, I can do it because, I'm not bound by any type of contractual agreement. That's going to be for a whole another podcast another day. Okay, we'll leave it there. Do one thing for 30 minutes every day. That's the podcast. I'm Delvin. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
This is an iHeart podcast.